The vision of the Muslim Council of Britain, re-articulated a few years ago, was to empower the Muslim community to contribute towards achieving a cohesive, just and successful British society. Not to be an organization that seeks special favors or privileges, nor want to fight extremism, but want to pursue consensus in our community and state loudly and clearly that our faith in our people have a great deal to offer society. That Muslimness and Britishness need not be in conflict, can be in harmony. But despite our determination, our work inevitably takes place against a background not of our choosing, a background that cannot be ignored, a background that was brought into sudden and sharp focus just a few weeks ago, with the reprehensible murder of drummer Farooq by two deluded young men who claimed wrongly to act in the name of Islam. That Muslims did this in the name of our faith is a fact that cannot be ignored. That the conduct of our government's foreign policy, which the attackers claim as justification, is indeed not irrelevant to the lasting security of this country, is also important to accept. Accepting that the conduct of war abroad can bring political violence home does not in any way justify the violence, but nor does this violence delegitimize raising questions about the political motivations behind it. We must find a way to diffuse political violence, and we must open up spaces for robust and critical discussion of all aspects of what our government does in all our names at home and abroad, so that all citizens feel that they have a stake in this society and its policies, and in challenging and rejecting all those who would undermine the legitimacy of political engagement from wherever they hail and whatever their ideology. The murder of Lee Rigby and the Islamophobic backlash that has followed have given succor to those on the fringes, be that from the far right or those who claim to do so in the name of Islam. It has also strengthened the hand of some in policy circles and the commentators who believe that the only solution to the Muslim problem is greater intrusion, surveillance, and greater outside intervention. Those who believe that all engagement with our community should be framed in terms of counter-terrorism, and who would have each of us condemn 1,000 different acts for which we are not responsible as a precondition to be allowed to speak in the public domain. The Muslim Council of Britain rejects this attempt to use the politics of fear and the insinuation to curb the intellectual and the spiritual life of our Ummah. And the MCB will not align itself with any program that seeks to shape the future of our Ummah on the basis of outside impediments. Some look at Woolwich and can only see the horrible attack and the threat of its possible repetition, and focus their search for lessons in the questions about extremism and radicalization. And they narrow their focus and intervention to the Muslim community and their investment in security into counter-terrorism. We are against the singling out of particular mosques, imams, charities, or student societies. Difficult and frank discussions need to take place, and these cannot happen if certain opinions or actors are proscribed before we even start to debate. Anyone who eschews violence and wants to engage by democratic means should be encouraged to do so, no matter how difficult their opinions may be for some. Does this mean we ignore the rejectionism of the Woolwich attackers and not join hands with others to ensure this does not happen again? Absolutely not. We are calling for real leadership, critical thinking, and evidence-based responses, not haphazard policy run at the whim of divisive pundits. Far too often, politicians and their policies trail media-framed moral patterns to deliver headline-catching, rushed solutions. In no area more so than event-driven security policy and the prevention of violent extremism, where much of the vocabulary, I'm afraid to say, no less than the concepts and theories remain deeply muddled and misguided, and will ultimately prove ineffective, if not counterproductive. These problems are ours to understand, to face up and overcome, together in partnership with all. Woolwich throws up important questions that require serious soul-searching on all sides. In our view, extremism breeds not within our communities, but in their gaps and margins, in places where the webs and safety nets of a community that sustain dignity, self-worth, autonomy, and solidarities fail. One of the few simple items to recent events has been the fact that it has driven home to all of us that occupy the middle ground, being we Christian, Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist, or atheist, be we black or white, indigenous, first or second or third generation. It has driven home to us that we must fight for that ground. After Woolwich, despite the hate, the reprisals and the fear, we saw people up and down the country claiming that middle ground. Whether it be the MCB affiliate, the York Mosque of the UK Islamic Mission, offering tea to EDL protesters, or local Jews and Christians rushing to the aid of the Somali Brevanese community after their Muslim Hill Islamic Center was burned down. We look at Woolwich and are struck by the ways that ordinary people responded to this shocking event in extraordinary ways. The lessons of Woolwich lie less in acknowledgement of impending essential threats to our way of life than in the demonstration of the resilience of our society. No amount of investment in counter-terrorism alone will prevent another attack. This is the verdict of all security experts. Investing in the resilience and capacity of our communities is the surest guarantee that we can stand up for who we are and what we believe in, that we can articulate our grievances without being accused of disloyalty and face up to those who seek to undermine our contribution to this society. What is in the basic interest of Britain's Muslim community is also the most basic interest of Britain as a whole. Peace, stability, prosperity, and cohesion are what we all want. And all of us believe that in this time and this place, this is best achieved by strong civil engagement in a society with robust institutions, critical but respectful public debate, and a deep respect for the values of pluralism, tolerance, and respect. For democracy, for that basic nevertheless, that good akhlaq, which is so ingrained in us as Muslims by our faith, which was the basic purpose of the coming of the Prophet to perfect the nobleness in human character, and is also so very British. So that MCD will not take money from the government. It will not subscribe to preconditions. It will engage as an equal partner with government, even if thus far it has refused to engage, and with other faiths and the civil society on behalf of its 500 affiliates. It will do so with a twin aim. First, to challenge those who stir hatred and suspicion of Muslims. And second, to press home the point amongst our Muslim communities to take part fully in mainstream society and within the Ummah as a whole, and challenge those who divide us. That is to widen the vision and build the social capital. That means initiating a forum amongst our scholars and activists to ensure that the Islamic message of resilience and good neighborliness is stronger to our young people than the divisive message of rejectionists. And that is why one of the important items of today's agenda is the signing of an interfaith unity statement. A strict code of honor that is based on the idea that unless all of us first recognize ourselves as Muslims, as a single, diverse and vibrant community, we have no hope of being recognized in our turn. If you're allowing intolerance to be preached by our brothers and sisters towards our brothers and sisters, then it is hard to put argument to wider society that we are fit to engage in modern, pluralistic Britain. And what we must challenge is not an ideology or a sect. It is a mentality. It can be found in Sunni and Shia, among Salafis and Reformists. It is a mentality of excommunicating dissent or takfir, and dehumanizing those who disagree with you. So we must challenge those who have the arrogance to claim that they can pronounce on the relationship that any of the rest of us have with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. From the arrogance, a great many sins can stem. And the overlap between those that present a security risk to the government and those who preach Islam among the Muslims themselves is taught to be ignored. If this process were to be dictated from outside, it would never become anything other than a witch hunt. There are too many zealots who see us as a threat to pressing the debate for it to be otherwise. So it must come from within. The statement we are signing today is the first step. This document is a signal to the British Muslim community and to the world that we will not allow hatred and division to be preached by our brothers and sisters in Islam towards our brothers and sisters in Islam. Everything else we seek to achieve as a community must stem from this most basic respect for our fellow Muslims. It is a step towards establishing consensus. I think Chair is going to address this, but I will right to the end. Thank you very much for your time. Sisters and brothers, MCB cannot represent anyone but its many affiliates. And as a democratically elected officer, I can do nothing more than exercise my judgment in service of the trust you have placed in me. We live in times of great global upheaval. The global recession, the aftermath of the misguided and counterproductive war on terror, the new communications revolution, the television screens and Twitter feeds that bring home to us the reality of the billions of people in poverty or under the heel of despotic regimes. These are vast challenges for humankind as a whole. As Muslims, we are the inheritors of one of the richest traditions in human history, a powerful force of social justice and spiritual well-being. And there has never been a greater need for such a force. One of the greatest achievements of Islam was to inspire people to look beyond the ties of clan and tribe. It united one of the most disparate and independent people of the world, Arabs of the 7th century, and allowed them to imagine a wider community, a community of all humanity under the love and justice of a single Lord, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All of us can believe in that community, and we must show courage to standing up for it in all its diversity. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be our guide, helper and protector, and our beloved Prophet Muhammad be our example and inspiration, and may he unite us all on what is ma'ruf and against what is munkar. Thank you very much for your patience and listening. Assalamu alaikum.